Welcome in to the DNVR Rockies Podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Lyons, coming again from the PHNX Sports Studios because I'm on assignment here covering the Diamondbacks. And who better to talk about the Diamondbacks and the Diamondbacks being in the World Series than Mrs. Danielle Cortez. What's up, Danielle?
We're in the World Series.
Yes, you are.
This is exciting. This is
yes,
great.
you are. Yes, could have a better person on the show that you even just tweeted this morning. I didn't know what you had a ticket from 2001 when you were a little kid, huh?
Yeah, a little kid me and my dad went to a game 6 of the World Series, so today means a lot.
That's so awesome. Yes, happy sports equinox for everyone. We got a NFL, NBA, NHL, and baseball game all on the same day. I think it's the only time it's going to happen this year. And as we go through
MLS playoff games as well.
There's an MLS playoff. There's two. All right, I guess we're counting MLS as a sport. I'm kidding. I like MLS. I do a lot. But as we go through this episode, there's some Where's Waldo business because we're going to talk all World Series and maybe a little how did the Diamondbacks get in this place. But there's some Where's Waldo stuff for Rockies fans. Of course, peppered in, we're going to have a little bit about the Gray Wolf. A great Don Baylor fact, something about a Gold Glove finalist, 2006 draft for Colorado, and so much more than that. So stay tuned, but let's start with game one. It did not end the way you would have liked. I'm sure.
Wasn't ideal.
No, Corey Seager with the game-tying 2-run homer in the 9th inning off Paul Sewald, and then the walk-off home run by Adolís Garcia, only the 17th walk-off home run in World Series history, first since 2018 when Max Muncy did it off Nathan Eovaldi, the same guy who started in game one on Friday night.
Baseball's ridiculous. I love it.
But Are you able to like look at that game and still say, man, that really was a classic World Series game, even though your team's on the losing side?
Yeah. It's such an interesting game to look back on because I was talking about it with one of our guys in here. With the hindsight being 2020, with game 2, you don't know if they're coming out with that performance
right
in game 2. So looking back. Had the D-backs lost game 2, I don't think I would be looking at it the same way. But now it's like, let them have their fun.
Yeah, because then you go down 2-0. You're like, and you might even be up 2-0 if that doesn't happen. But Michaela on the post-game PHNX Diamondbacks show on Friday did say that Adolís Garcia pretty much should get the Barry Bonds treatment. And I think he absolutely should too. Get him to expand that zone. He hadn't taken any walks in the ALCS. I think he got one in game 2 finally, but you have to treat Seager and Adolís Garcia kind of similar to how the Diamondbacks treated Schwarber and Bryce Harper. Just walk both those guys and hopefully get the guy out in the middle, which they were able to do against the Phillies. They got Trey Turner out and Baum and everyone after that. And I think the same is going to have to happen for Diamondbacks pitching. Get Evan Carter out in the middle, the young 21-year-old number 3 hitter, and then get everybody that comes after Garcia. Just walk both those guys, pitch around them, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, there are definitely outs to be had in that Rangers lineup. They are very, like, it's a scary offensive team, but the D-backs also dealt with arguably the best offense in baseball with the Philadelphia Phillies, and they had great success when they didn't let the Stars beat them. And so I think that's really what you have to do, but Adolís Garcia is an interesting case because he's kind of a WW, right? He won't walk. So the big thing with Paul Sewald was he walked the 9-hitter. He was the first person to say it. You walk the 9-hitter, and that's when you get into trouble because that's when you can't put on you can't put on Seager, you can't put on Garcia. So really, like I said, there are outs to be had. It's just you can't let their guys beat you.
No, and Garcia is that dude. Obviously, 22 RBI with that walk-off home run. So most ever in a postseason, and did in only 13 games, which is impressive. So he's definitely a guy that you have to work around. Now in that game, to allow the Rangers to stay in it there late was former Colorado Rockies pitcher Jon Gray. Holds down the fort for Texas there. Great work. Inning and 2/3 pitched. Only gave up 1 hit. Didn't walk any. Struck out 4. And had the Kevin Ginkel got into a lot of traffic there in the 8th, had the Rangers actually gone ahead at that point, Jon Gray would have been in line for the win, would have been the first former Rocky to get a win in the World Series since Tyler Matzigan in 2021. So Rockies fans like to see that. They wish him well. Do you feel the same way about ex-Diamondbacks players? Like when they go out and they're playing deep into October, like you wish them the best of luck?
It would depend. I think it's case by case. Right, it's definitely case by case.
Okay,
case in point.
Tonight's Game 3 starter. We'll get to that. We'll get to Max Scherzer.
Jon Gray's Game 4 starter.
That's what's announced?
He was announced this morning. Jon Gray is Game 4 starter.
Wow.
And it's a bullpen game for the D-backs.
That's so interesting because the last time the first and only time that Jon Gray had pitched in the postseason was the wildcard game in 2017, which was at Chase Field.
I enjoyed that game.
Yes, I'm sure you did. Careful now. Come on. We got Rockies people listening. And what's interesting is his next start at Chase was opening day in 2018, and he did not fare very well there either. But after that, and even before that, he was great at Chase Field. Yeah. It's something about big moments for Jon that can get, a little bit hairy for him. It's funny. So after that game 1, Dane Dunning actually said a couple words about Jon Gray. And for Rockies fans, they know that, Jon Gray, I'm not going to say it's anxiety issues, but he puts a lot of pressure on himself. And Dane Dunning actually said after game 1, Jon Gray coming out, having the fantastic outing. I think he had like 4 or 5 punchies. He kind of gets a little down on himself, but I've been trying to hype him up a bunch, and he's a stud. So even after, getting that nice contract, getting the bag from the Texas Rangers, he's still the same person. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And
that's always been the case with Jon Gray.
Yeah.
It's never been an issue of stuff, right? It's never been an issue of can he be a top of the rotation pitcher with the stuff he has. It's always been mental. Mm-hmm. And nowhere is that more exaggerated or not words. There's a specific word I'm looking for. Nowhere is that put under the microscope,
right,
more than the postseason.
Yeah.
And it doesn't get bigger in the World Series. And he did it. He pitched extremely well. There was, watching the game in here with you, it was you weren't getting anything off of Jon Gray at that point. He was looking good.
He looked strong. He looked great. Yeah, I'm a little fascinated by psychology and like mental strength and the mental health of athletes. And I'm glad that that's something that's being discussed more in a healthier light rather than like, oh, this guy doesn't have what it's cut out for it, or like players get traded to New York, like, they can't deal with that market.
Handle the New York media.
And it's like, we're
people.
Yeah, we're starting to understand the people part of things so much more, which you definitely love to see. And you love to see a little bit of that Breckenridge Distillery, wherever you're having a good time. You're going to get at all the tailgates, all of our watch parties down in the corner of Colfax and York there. In Denver, it's amazing. Right now, they're giving away 2 tickets to go see Broncos and Chargers at the end of the season in their Breckenridge Bourbon Whiskey Suite. Take a photograph of yourself on Instagram, Facebook. Use hashtag Broncos Bourbon by the end of November, because on December 1st, they'll narrow it down to their 10 favorites, and then you have a big chance to win. Again, tailgates and watch parties. We've got the Breckenridge Distillery, the official bourbon of the Denver Broncos. It's available in all 50 states. Shop at your local retailer or visit BreckenridgeDistillery.com for home delivery of the award-winning Breckenridge spirits at Prey, anywhere, even here in the Valley. And anywhere you go, you can go to Bet365 because they just don't do ordinary. They believe every sport should be epic, so see for yourself when you sign up today, because you're going to get $365 in bonus bets when you bet just $1. Right now, they got a special DNVR custom bet, Nuggets to win the NBA championship again. I know Danielle is all about that bet in a big way. What a good sport you are. But download the app, deposit $10, and claim $365 in bonus bets as soon as you place a bet for $1. Download the Bet365 app and use code DNVR365 when you sign up. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Now, Will Smith came on relief in game 1. It's his 3rd year in a row with his 3rd different team in the World Series, and could actually become the first to win 3 in a row.
That's wild. That doesn't make any sense.
No.
That's what I love about baseball, is just so much of it just does not make sense.
No. I remember when Reggie Sanders even just went to the postseason, I think, with 3 teams in 3 different years, one of those being 0-1. Yeah. Loved Reggie Sanders back in the day. The last to do it in 3 consecutive World Series with 3 different teams, Eric Hinske. But the first was the first manager in Rockies history, Don Baylor. Red Sox in 86, Twins in 87, A's in 1988. Hashtag retire 25. Got to retire that man's number. Absolutely got it.
Absolutely. Don Baylor is one of the most underrated players in baseball history.
True.
And former D-backs hitting coach.
Yes.
Yep.
That's right. Yeah, eventually someday, and maybe it's just because the Hall of Fame will just maybe need to induct more people. Like they're just kind of running out of spots or running out of people to induct. Baseball lifers, like guys who contributed to the game, like Don Baylor, who certainly is in the Hall of Very Good during his playing career. But even someone like a Don Zimmer, who was the bench coach for Don Baylor that first year in 1993. And you go, man, this guy was everywhere, was in a little bit of everything, kind of like the Forrest Gump of baseball. And you go, oh, he was there for that. He was there for that. So someday, they might do one of those things. But unequivocally a great story in Game 2 of the World Series. Diamondbacks 9-1 win. Danielle, what were you more impressed about, or what were you maybe more buzzing about? His performance, or just that people have really started to latch on with his story, his journey to get to where he's at today?
With Merrill Kelly?
Merrill Kelly,
yes.
Yeah.
D-backs fans, if you've been watching the D-backs, this is Merrill Kelly.
Yeah.
Right? This is who he's been since the day he stepped on the field at Chase Field. This is who he's been. He's this calm. He's never going to get too high, never going to get too low. And he's just going to outthink you. He's going to outpitch you. That's who he is. And so to see him get that moment in the sun for him, it's just so overdue. Because like I said, this is who Merrill Kelly has been. And we all thought that would be his moment would be in the World Baseball Classic, right?
yeah, right.
But Mark DeRosa with the quick hook. It's an interesting thing with that as well, because, Merrill Kelly, he's probably not going to give you too many shutouts, right? Complete games. He's going to bend. He's never going to break. Mm-hmm. And that's who he is. And so, going back to the World Baseball Classic, seeing him get that hook, it's like, no, this is who he is. Like, let him cook, man. It's just been so exciting. And especially, he's a Valley boy.
That's true.
He went to high school out here in the Phoenix area. He went to college.
Junior college.
Went to junior college. He went to ASU out here. And now he's pitching for the D-backs. So for the entire sports world to see it, it's just it's so exciting for me personally as someone who was born and raised in Arizona, and to see his fight to go to Korea and come back and finally get his chance.
Yeah, Colorado loves the natives. They love rooting for those stories. So that's one of the great things that's one of the benefits, I think, to not having a rematch of, Astros versus Phillies. Like, those players, sure, they're big and bright, and you're just waiting for them to do something huge. And okay, that's entertaining, but you're not necessarily learning something else. You're not learning about the players, and that's really, what makes the sport, I think, just go to another level besides just their performances. And so Kelly goes 7 shutout innings, no walks, 9 strikeouts. Only the 10th time in World Series history a guy walks none and strikes out 9 or more. The last to do it, fittingly, Curt Schilling in 2001, right? Because, hey, that's baseball. Retired the first 11, so he went really deep with a little no-hitter there. Perfect game, in fact. And then got retired the last 7 that he ended up facing. And to your point about how good he's been here, nationally, Zach Allen's been the name, right? Because he's gotten the Cy Young votes. But in watching him this postseason, boy, he's had a lot of clunkers. He's had, I think, maybe 6 different starts where he gave up 5 earned runs or more. And you go, wow. But then obviously he's dominated those other starts. And Merrill Kelly is almost this anonymous ace to kind of give him a name. He's been the guy. He did it against the Phillies, and he did it in Game 2 in a really huge way. Arizona's offense comes to his 16 hits, most in a game since the Giants did it in 2014. I was thinking that, Torey Lovullo, pushed some of the right buttons in Game 2, but I don't have a sense yet that Torey Lovullo has outmanaged Bruce Bochy just yet. I did get that sense that, Rob Thompson was okay. I think there's probably a couple of things he might like to do again, especially with his bullpen, especially with Craig Kimbrell. But it might be too early to say that Lovullo has outmanaged Bruce Bochy, unless you kind of see it. Maybe he does have an edge so far.
I feel like they're on the same level.
Yeah.
Right. Which is incredible to say that, Torey Lovullo managing in his only a second postseason, his first ever World Series, is managing at the same level as one of the greatest to ever do it. I don't think anybody's going to argue that Bruce Bochy isn't a top 10, maybe top 5 manager of all time. And again, this is an interesting thing because for so long, D-backs fans have been calling for Torey Lovullo, losing teams, like fire the manager. Mm-hmm. And those of us inside, I've full disclosure, Torey Lovullo is one of the best people I've ever met. He, after my dad passed away, he's been checking in on me. So I am very pro Torey Lovullo.
Yeah. You like that.
This is what he does. He's a great manager. And now that he has the pieces to figure it out, to actually do what he wants to do, this is what we're seeing. Yeah. Right. And I'm going to go on a little bit of a soapbox.
Do it.
I am so tired of people saying nobody cares about this World Series because it's not the Dodgers or the Yankees. Like, no, shut up.
Baseball fans care.
Shut up.
Yes.
You touched on this. This is, the world is getting to see new players.
Yes.
Who had outside of, the local markets, the NL West, Rockies fans know who Merrill Kelly is, right?
Sure.
Who is complaining about seeing new superstars? Corbin Carroll, Tommy Pham. I love this.
It's true.
This is what baseball is all about. You're getting me on my soapbox, and I'm just talking about how much I love baseball. It's the best.
You're plugging my article right now at the DNVR.com about ratings be damned. There's so much here in the first two games.
There is so much
in this World
beauty
Series.
in the game of baseball, and we're seeing it now. I love it. I'm just, I don't even remember what got me on this train, but
that's about Torey Lovullo kind of getting the respect and the shine he deserves.
And now we're finally seeing that Torey is one of and in his press conference talking about the team, when Tommy Pham asked for Jace Peterson to get the at bat, and you see him just beaming with love for his team. And, that's just been who he is the entire time.
Because he preaches it. Like, a connected team is a dangerous team, and the Diamondbacks are dangerous. I'm just going to...
Yeah.
They are dangerous. Yeah. I'm not going to say the shirt that they're...
Come on!
They're really dangerous, I think is what the shirt might say. It's hard because one of the letters is a snake head. So, but yeah, if you wanted to get that from the PHNX locker.
Good shirt.
And it's a great shirt. But he talks about that connection and guys doing things for people. And as you said, like, Tommy Pham is 4 for 4. He's got World Series history right in front of him. Now, is he aware of that necessarily? He knows, he's like, clearly not that many people have even gotten 4 hits. Yeah. And only Albert Pujols in 2011 and Paul Molitor in 1982 ever got 5 hits. And he's like, no, give it to my boy Jace Peterson. And it's been his boy for 3 months.
Yeah.
It's one thing, like in one of the post-game shows, Alek Thomas was giving Tommy Pham some guff for his music. He's like, oh, hey, Tommy, Ortiz, A-Rod, Jeter, this is kind of your age group, guys like in their mid to late 40s. And like Tommy Pham's in his mid 30s.
Yeah.
But Alek Thomas is part of the fabric of the clubhouse. Like, he's there. He's a Diamondback. Jace Peterson flew in from the West Coast, from the A's. Pham comes in from the Mets. They don't know each other. Yeah. And yet Pham is immediately like, no, I want someone else to get a little bit of the shine too. Like, that's the kind of clubhouse that Torey Lovullo has cultivated.
Yes, exactly. And it's just such... I love that the baseball world is finally seeing this. As somebody who has been here since Torey Lovullo's very first day, and from the outside looking in, and now sort of being on that inside, you see just the kind of culture that Torey represents, that he cultivates. And it's a beautiful thing. It's it's what's better than this, guys being dudes. It's it's a bunch of 23-year-olds loving each other, and it's the best. I'm so happy that the world is seeing it now. And props to the D-backs ownership for seeing this too.
Yeah.
Right. After 2021, when the D-backs 110 games, how easy would it have been? Like, nope, we're going a different direction. But people in the organization know what a person Torey is, what kind of culture he cultivates. And now here we're seeing it. Yeah. Seeing it pay off.
Yeah, Mike Hazen and Torey Lovullo getting their flowers, sticking together, 2 guys who came over from Boston. And that's so wonderful to see. Well, look, what's wonderful to see is a nice little discount in your pocket and some nice flour, some edibles, whatever it may be, from Kind Love, an official partner of DNVR. Support a local brand. They were established in 2010, one of the first dispensaries in all of Colorado. Highest quality cannabis in the state. That's a guarantee. They got the turbo core, the turbo joints, and Kind Love flower. Sold in more than 100 stores around the state. You can actually visit one of their locations at Cherry Creek or North Denver. You mentioned code DNVR, and you receive the DNVR exclusive discount of 25% off all Kind Love flour, pre-rolls, and their turbo joint line. Just visit their website at kindlove.com for their full extensive menu and online ordering. And get this, code DNVR now is working for deliveries as well. Foco is going to deliver to your doorstep the leading manufacturer of sports and entertainment merchandise. They've got apparel, they've got accessories, they've got bobbleheads, they've got those overalls, which you just see everywhere now. I feel like you just throw a pair of Foco overalls on and like
that's Phillies ones. That's the only ones I ever see.
That's the only one?
Yeah.
I mean,
like everybody in the stadium wears Phillies overalls now.
They do have CU buffs, and
okay.
I'm sure they might have ASU for you guys down here. But I feel like you just throw those on and like, hey, that's my Halloween costume. I have a pair of like quirky overalls on. And you're like, all right, it does the heavy lifting for you. They got cool Peanuts bobbleheads, which I like. They got button-up Hawaiian shirts. They're pretty cool. So Foco has your back when it comes to Colorado sports. And make sure you go and get the best gear around by using code DNVR for all pre-sale items, because you're going to get 10% off that order. We're seeing the new rules here in the postseason, and they're impacting the postseason. They're, I think, impacting the enjoyability of the game, right? The disengagement limit in the larger bases has led to more steals. I think we're at 55, or maybe I think when we entered the World Series, it was like at 55. So we're definitely climbing up. It's third most for a single postseason in MLB history. By the time I'm sure this is done, there'll be at least 59, which is currently the record from the 95 postseason. But we'll have more. And again, that's been making the games more exciting. We're seeing that small ball. We're seeing the sacrifice bunt that the Diamondbacks really do so well. And I think it just makes for a more enjoyable and enticing game instead of waiting for the 3-run home run. Guys are running around the bases, doing it very quickly when it comes to Alek Thomas and Corbin Carroll. And I think it's just make for a better and exciting brand for people to watch at home.
Yeah, absolutely. And even Christian Walker's getting in on the chaos.
He's got 4 stolen bases.
He's got 4 stolen bases. When you're having your power hitting first baseman stealing bases, you know, the D-backs slogan is create chaos, embrace the chaos.
Yes.
And you're seeing it. It's a fun brand of baseball.
It is.
It's seeing it all year. You can never take a play off. You know, there are teams out there where you get a guy on base and, you know, whoever's at bat is gonna try and hit a 2-run home run, 3-run home run, whatever. Now it's like D-backs, you have no idea. There's so many ways they can beat you, and it's fun. I was pretty anti rule changes just because you know in the Arizona Fall League. I saw the big bases like, these look ridiculous. Like, this isn't my baseball. And now, like, you don't even notice it. And it's fun. I love it. Baseball is fun. I love baseball more than anything in the world. Now we're finally getting people in on it, right? More people are watching. More people are seeing what an amazing game this is. So I'm all for that.
They need to change third base. And here's how. Because the bases are large and, you know, they're mocked for maybe being pizza boxes. But for here in Arizona, for Corbin Carroll, with all the triples he hit this year, 10 during the regular season, had the 2 RBI triple in game 1. If it is going to be a pizza box, open it up and just allow, you know, some gel, some nutrition, like a half slice of pizza just on third base and just for Corbin Carroll.
Just for Corbin.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Haven't had a ton of pitch clock violations this postseason, and the games have been quicker, 30 minutes shorter than last year. Now, game 1 ended up being a little over 4 hours because it went 11 innings.
Nothing to do about that one.
But then game 2 was under 3 hours. Yeah. So
you had a 9-run game.
Yes.
Under 3 hours?
It was like 2:58 maybe.
That is unthinkable last year.
That's crazy. Yeah, I think that's definitely been going to help when we see the results for what the ratings are, because attendance was, you know, a major improvement this year because of the new rules. And again, I think the casual fans are going to go, oh, I don't know any of these guys, but you're going to turn it on because it's a sporting event, and then you're going to get captivated by all the stories that we've been talking about.
That's another annoying thing. Like, there are no superstars. There are superstars. You just don't care about them because, you know, other networks are just showing Red Sox Yankees every single day. It's, you know, Corbin Carroll. Alek Thomas is really coming out.
New superstars.
Yeah, new superstars. Yes. And, you know, I don't want to harp on the D-backs. Corey Seager's been doing it a long time. Marcus Semien, who isn't, you know, he's not.
Those are names.
He's not playing that great, but, you know, he's a superstar.
It's true.
There are superstars in there. You just don't care enough to see them. And so now that they're getting their stage, I love baseball, Patrick.
It's great.
I love baseball
I know you
so
do.
Much.
And I know new superstar in Evan Carter, which is crazy with what he's been able to do this postseason because he's going to be eligible for the Rookie of the Year award next year. So I'm like on Bet365, it's going to be like, for a $100 bet, win 110 because it's like such a lock, right?
The idea that he could potentially win World Series MVP and then go on and win Rookie of the Year the next year.
I hadn't thought about that. That's a good angle.
It ain't happening though. It's not happening.
That's crazy. A second youngest hitter ever to bat third in a World Series game behind Mickey Mantle. He ended up being pretty good.
I guess.
I feel like
if you're into that sort of thing.
He had 2 doubles in game 1, so he has 9 2-baggers, most ever in a postseason by a rookie. He had 19 hits in the regular season because he debuted on September 8th. So he had 19 hits in the regular season, 23 regular season games. He has 15 this postseason. I know you don't want him to get 5 more, but he probably will,
that's
right?
Ridiculous.
He'll have more in the postseason. That's...
Baseball makes no sense. I love it. Oh my god!
And so Josh Young, also a rookie, has I think he has 16 hits. So he's got 1 more than Carter. 16th and 17th rookies all time to ever have 15 or more hits in the postseason. First pair of teammates. So again, youth is on display in this World Series. It's kind of like how, we see Evan Longoria and you go, oh my God, it was, 15 years since World Series appearances and all that. Like there's a lot of guys in this World Series that are planting that flag. Alek Thomas did it literally in Philly. But planting that flag to look forward and go, oh, wow, remember when Gabby Moreno was only the 3rd youngest catcher, to start in game 1 in a World Series, and he's batting 3rd? Like,
yeah, and in 10 years, we're going to be thinking about this World Series that we had Josh Young and Corbin Carroll going at it.
Yep.
It's, I'm going to harp on it again. I am so sick of the narrative that there aren't superstars. There are superstars. You're just not paying attention.
There are. Yeah. There's superstars at the DNVR bar all week long with all of our watch parties for Nuggets, for Avs. We just had a really cool event for Be a Good Person brand. That was amazing on Saturday. But they've got a lot more of the takeovers coming up for the Nuggets. November 4th versus Chicago, Battle of DNVR versus CHGO, some nice club level seats. December 16th versus OKC. There's one in January against Indiana, in March in Utah. And I think now you can even get like a season pass. So like you're locked in, you've got a spot saved for all of those takeovers, which is super cool. And the Avs are doing it as well. December 9th against Philly, another DNVR versus PHLY head-to-head matchup there in January against the Kings on Pride Night, which is awesome. And then on March 8th against Minnesota, Military Appreciation Night. So get yourself locked in, get yourself signed up, subscribe, become a diehard, access to the Diehards Only Discord for some great conversations, not just about the Rockies, all the sports here in Denver and so many other different things as well. Get signed up at the DNVR.com. Tonight's matchup, Game 3, Brandon Pfaadt and Max Scherzer. Who'd have thought that Brandon Pfaadt, didn't want to rhyme there, would be like kind of almost lopsided for a guy who's a future Hall of Famer.
Against Max Scherzer of all people.
Like, who cares about Max Scherzer? Let's talk about Brandon Pfaadt.
Pfaadt's the future Hall of Famer. Thank you very much.
That's. I have a Phoenix producer here. If anyone wasn't sure where that take's coming from, but I mean, we're talking about 2 potential Diamondbacks Hall of Famers because, as our thumbnail shows, and for anyone that doesn't remember, it was a brief 2 years. It was kind of like a cup of coffee for 2 years. Max Scherzer was drafted and developed by the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah, and we forget he was not very good when he was here.
No.
I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but being there, how old was I? I would have been in high school when he was here. All the conversations about Max Scherzer, he has this stuff. He just can't throw strikes and he can't go deep into games. So we've always had this narrative that anytime we face Max Scherzer, I used to work in the D-back social media department. So anytime we would face him, it would be like, oh my gosh, here comes we should have never traded him situation. But I mean, we forget, we talked about this before. He was not very good for.
No. Would you like the numbers?
Let's get into
those
numbers.
As a Diamondback?
Yeah, his rookie year, 16 games pitched, 7 starts, 3.05 ERA, 1.23 WHIP.
Okay. That's good.
56 innings pitched.
56 innings pitched is
Correct.
the big one.
Because
the thing was he could not get into the 5th inning.
So his second full year in the big leagues, 30 games started. He went 9-11 with a 4.12, a 1.34, 174 strikeouts to 63 walks.
All right, still decent.
He was okay.
For a young guy.
He was a pretty solid back
Yeah,
in the
that is.
rotation.
He wasn't
kinda
Max
guy.
Scherzer.
Yeah, he wasn't Max Scherzer, and he
Correct.
wasn't Max Scherzer until 2013 with the Tigers.
He was more Maxwell Scherzer at that point, I think, right?
And
he wasn't Mad Max.
No, he was like, Max Scherzer. Like that name sounds familiar. I think we've seen him a couple times.
He was more Meh Max.
Yeah,
maybe
hey, that's the thumbnambell.
It
was his second worst walk to strikeout ratio in his big league career.
Yeah,
at 2.8.
Was a part of a 3-team deal with the Tigers and Yankees and included Curtis Granderson. But hey, the Diamondbacks did get Ian Kennedy
out of it.
Who actually was
He
pretty
had
good back
one
then.
good year.
If the Rangers win, he's on the Rangers roster, so he would get a ring. I know you don't want to.
I forgot that
acknowledge
he was there,
that, but
because he was with us last year and he was not very good.
But this postseason, Scherzer 2 games started, 6 2/3 innings pitched, gave up 7 runs. In fact, his last quality start with Texas during the regular season was on September 1st. So he was like on the IL. So these are almost like rehab starts just a little bit for him. So I think that's one of the reasons why, Brandon Pfaadt's getting the shine here right now, because he's got a 2.70 ERA this postseason, which is actually way better when you throw out that first start against the Brewers. He's closer to a 1.29 ERA. He hasn't lost a game in the postseason. The Diamondbacks have won every game this postseason that he's started. Now, he's from the capital of Kentucky. Do you know what the capital of Kentucky is?
Louisville.
Oh, how'd you say it?
Frankfurt.
Louisville. It's Frankfurt. I
Oh,
know
you're
that.
right. It is.
It's Frankfurt.
My God.
It's
I'm an idiot.
Frankfurt.
It's actually Louisville.
Louisville. Because I said in the press conference yesterday,
Yes.
somebody's like, "You're from Louisville, right?" And he's like, "Yes, I'm from Louisville." And he was like, "No,
I know all
I'll
my
let
capitals.
you get away with it, but it's actually Louisville."
I know all my capitals. Now I got to just
Frankfurt.
throw a state at me and just to prove it. You want to do tough and go Vermont? It's Montpelier. Like, that's easy.
Here's a little
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island, Providence. That was in.
Here's a little fun fact. When I was in 8th grade, I won my school's geography bee.
Get out.
Yeah.
Props. Montana is Helena.
There we go.
All right. I'm back on track. See, I know capitals. I just flubbed it. I was just trying to get to a Louisville. Now,
Louisville.
I know. Well, look, in Colorado, we have the exact same town, and it's Louisville. And that took a while to get used to. But the difference between Louisville and Louisville, it's minor.
Well,
Louisville.
You have to say
Louisville.
Swallow your L.
I've never even been there. I just know from some people that I've worked with in baseball that are like, nope, you have to say it like you have a mouthful of peanut butter.
Yes.
My sister went to Kentucky and Lexington for college, and so her other official visit was to Louisville, and so it was like a thing. They were like, if you're gonna go here, like,
you have to say it right.
Like Louisville.
It's like San Francisco and saying San Fran. You can't do it.
You
can't call it San Fran.
No. If you pronounced it ULL-ville, it's closer. Oldville. Oldville. Just that also works. So yeah, Brandon Pfaadt is the dude. Look, the 2006 draft for the Diamondbacks, that was where Max Scherzer came from. Here's the Rockies Titan. One of the best drafts ever. Rockies had the 2nd overall pick. They didn't get much from their guy, Greg Reynolds. Who did they miss on? After the number 2 pick, 3rd overall, Evan Longoria. 6th pick was Andrew Miller. 7th pick, Clayton Kershaw. 10th pick, a retired, but still 2 Cy Young Award winning Tim Lincecum. And then eventually they ended up acquiring, Susie likes to say they have got like hoarder mentality, which they kind of do. Like, so there's guys where if they missed out on them, they always want to like get them at some point in their career.
Yeah.
Yes. So eventually they acquired 8th pick in the 2006 draft, Drew Stubbs, 13th pick, Tyler Colvin, 28th pick, Daniel Bard, still going strong.
Tyler Colvin. I haven't heard that name in so long.
30th pick, Adam Ottavino, also going strong. And 34th pick, Brooks Brown. So those Rockies. Now, Alek Thomas has been another one of those bright spots. 2 hits, run scored in both those games. Only the 6th player to ever do that in his first 2 World Series games. So that's one of the things that's on the line to watch in Game 3. Does he get 2 hits and score a run? Because he'll be the first player to ever do it in his first 3 World Series games. That's pretty cool. I do like that. Now, he was in the lineup on Saturday in Game 2 against a lefty, Jordan Montgomery. Torey basically saying, look, his defense is kind of more important. And I would agree in a big spot like this. Did a nice job against the lefty, Jordan Montgomery. And I think Alek Thomas is similar to the Rockies' own Brenton Doyle, both those guys Gold Glove finalists, where, you know what, if you get something out of their bat, good, But the defense is so good.
He's not out there for that. He's almost supplemental offense, right? Like if you get something out of him, great. If you don't, then he's going to go. His value is in the field. But Alek Thomas has always had that in him. Mm-hmm. The whole conversation around Alek Thomas is not whether he can hit; it's when he will hit.
Mm. And he's done it this postseason. 4 home runs.
Yeah,
4 home
runs.
Since
ever since he got recalled, he got sent down to. He had some mechanical issues and he worked on them, and you see it paying off now. And the D-backs have had that with a couple people, 3 people off the top of my head. Jake McCarthy, who got injured in batting practice of Game 1 of the Milwaukee series, had the same thing where he got sent down and then Brandon Pfaadt.
Yeah,
he got sent down twice, and now Alek Thomas, and you see it.
Kevin
Ginkle
sent down. Now
I think superstar. He didn't even start the year with the team.
He's been so dominant in this postseason that people forget he didn't start the season with the team. He got called up, got called back, he got sent back down, and then got called up again. He was not that great.
It's the journey, man.
To start the season. But now you're seeing it. This is what makes baseball so great.
So true. So true. Chase Field sold out all 3 games. No shockers. I think tickets start at about 600.
Yeah, I don't really want to say what my brother spent on Game 5.
Yeah, it's about I think 560 was what I saw the lowest today.
Just to get in the door. And Chase Coors, you could stand anywhere around the concourse or on the rooftop and be like, yeah, I'll just stand for the whole game. That's not a big deal. There's not as many spots at Chase that you can do that, right?
No.
So that's kind of unfortunate. But again, it's the World Series. I'm actually going to go down before the pregame show at 5:30 Denver time. That'll be on the PHNX Sports Channel if you want to watch me over there talking about the Diamondbacks, previewing Game 3 of the World Series. But I just want to go down and just be around the vibes, right? Because it's the World Series. It's amazing. Series. Oh, they've dipped 472 right now to get in. Ooh, hold on a second. Let's see. Can I sell some of my Rockies bobbleheads? What can I get to supplement paying $472? So
you should just call Brandon and say, "Hey, I got a proposition for you."
Pfaadt or Spano?
Spano.
Oh, okay.
Or both. Give Pfaadt a call too.
He might give me for free.
Why not?
I don't know. Just say, "Hey, I know Jesse Friedman and Derek Montiel." Say no more. Just mention my name. You know what? I might as well just go to Will Call and go, "Brandon Pfaadt left me a couple tickets," and see if they just give them to me.
Yeah.
Then I'll have to tell Derek that I won't be on the pregame show. It's going to be a whole thing. But go ahead, Danielle, plug away. Thanks for joining me, as always.
I'm always happy to be on here.
Yes.
I love Denver. Denver is my favorite.
And you love baseball. You love the Diamondbacks. We're going to have you on a lot more this offseason.
Yeah. Follow me at Abracadanielle on Twitter. I don't want to spell it out. I'm dyslexic. I don't want to spell that. And then on Instagram at Danny Shoots Sports. I am a photographer.
Great photographer. Check out all of that work. At DNVR_Rockies, at Patrick D. Lyons is where we exist on X. I think I'm making the jump. I'm done saying Twitter. I think today is the day. I'm just going to say on X. Although I've never actually been on X before. Anyway, that's a side note. But sorry. Don't let Damon, the producer, hear that one. He doesn't like puns. But you can tell Max about that.
I like puns. I am a pun fan.
Okay. There we go. Big pun? Pun fan?
Big pun
He
fan.
is one of my favorite rappers too. See, that's actually a pun. Anyway, let's wrap this thing up. Danielle, you gave us some momentum, but unfortunately it has an expiration date here in the baseball podcasting world. Good thing we've got some momentum tomorrow. Susie here right on the DNVR Sports Channel tomorrow. Make sure you are tuned in live, DNVR Sports Channel on YouTube.
We all silly like the mayor.